your motorcycle.
Don't take the clothes, man. Just take the motorcycle. But you know, mate, just when you get on the bike, just watch the airbags there.
Well, I won't be needing this anymore, because now I've got the real shotgun. No, this isn't your typical motorcycle you'd see the Terminator ride away on. But who needs time-travelling cyborgs when you've got a bike that can make time stand still? Ladies and gentlemen, meet the Royal Enfield Shotgun 650, the cruiser that's about to rewrite the rules of the road. It was just over a year ago now that we were testing the Super Meteor 650. Well, now it's time to have a bit of fun on Royal Enfield's fourth model to join this 650 twin platform, the Shotgun 650. Now, the Shotgun 650 comes from the original SG 650 concept, which was launched in EICMA back in 2021, and it received quite a lot of attention. In fact, it was so well accepted that the bigwigs at Royal Enfield decided to give the go-ahead on production. Now, traditionally, most concepts undergo a few changes before they hit the showroom, as was the case with the Shotgun, with some slight modifications to the design. And although the new Shotgun 650 shares quite a few similarities with the Super Meteor, including the frame, gearbox, brakes, and various suspension elements, after one short ride, you quickly notice it's an entirely different motorcycle. All right, we take the little Shotgun 650 for a cruise, and what you notice straight away is just how smooth and effortless it is to ride. Really light, really nimble. Little Shotgun will take you around Australia if needs be. It's a great bike. You can get out of town on it, have a bit of fun. It's comfortable, really gets up on boogies. Effortlessly shifts through the gearbox. It's smooth, handles brilliantly, and as you can see, it's quite an easy gauge. It's got all the information you need. Bit of a mix between the LCD display and of course the analog. The suspension is really good as well. No harsh bottom outs. It is adjustable with the preload. It does have a bit of power to burn. Yeah, it's not going to snap your shoulders out of their sockets, but it'll keep up with the pack, that's for sure. Royal Enfield have come a long way. Not only has it been lowered at the front and slightly raised at the rear, but it's now also running 43mm forks that are 33mm shorter than the Super Meteor, along with the rear shocks, which are 20mm longer. And even though the fork is shorter on the Shotgun, it still uses the same big piston separate function, internals with fixed damping and spring preload, and offers the same 120mm of travel. The shocks, on the other hand, despite being 20mm taller, offer less travel with 90mm as opposed to the 100mm that we had on the Super Meteor. Obviously, these alterations affect the Shotgun's geometry, with a wheelbase of 1463mm and a steeper rake of 25.3 degrees compared to that of the Super Meteor, which has a wheelbase of 1500mm and a more sedate rake of 27.6 degrees. The Shotgun's riding position is also more performance orientated too, with that floating solo seat, which sits you a little higher, flatter bars, which have been positioned lower and further forward, and along with those mid-mounted foot pegs. It also has a new subframe, a redesigned teardrop tank, along with that neo-modern aluminium headlight nacelle. And the final addition are the more conventional and slightly sportier wheel sizes, featuring an 18-inch front and a 17-inch rear, as opposed to the 19 and 16-inch combination on the Super Meteor. Another interesting feature is the unique modular and removable subframe holding the passenger seat, which gives the Shotgun the versatility to switch between three modes: single-seater, a double-seater, or a hauling tourer loaded up with luggage. And it's an easy step as just turning a key and releasing the passenger seat. As the Royal Enfield design team stated, they see this motorcycle as a blank canvas for customisation. Now, at the heart of the Shotgun 650 is the same engine found on their entire 650 range, an air and oil-cooled single overhead cam 648cc parallel twin, 4 valves per cylinder. And the 270-degree crank engine has performance figures almost identical to its stablemate and the other 650s, with 46.4 horsepower available at 7,250 RPM and about 38.6 foot-pounds of torque at 5,650 RPM. A cable throttle naturally means you won't find any ride modes or safety interventions like traction control, engine braking, wheelie control, or the likes, which, let's face it, you don't need on a sweet little cruiser like this. But you do still get the basic electronics like ABS, LED lighting along with a USB charging port and the Tripper navigational pod, which simply hooks up to your phone via an app and gives you directions when needed. The other notable difference is the weight, and even though the Shotgun tips the scales at 239 kilos, which is quite heavy for a 650 cruiser, it is slightly lighter than the Super Meteor, which comes in at 241 kilos. You'll also notice there's a lot less chrome to be found on the Shotgun 650, with most of it featuring blacked out components, which you'd probably agree suits this little bobber style cruiser to a T. The seat height is also higher at 795 millimeters compared to the Super Meteor at 740 millimeters. But as you can see, it's still quite easy to put your feet firmly on the ground, bearing in mind this is sitting on a centre stand. Now, stopping power again comes courtesy of the Brembo subsidiary Vibro brakes, consisting of a 320mm disc up front with a single twin piston caliper, accompanied with a 300mm disc at the rear, which also features a twin piston caliper and twin channel Bosch ABS as standard. Now, the front was more progressive than the rear, and if you really want to pull up in a hurry, you'll probably find that you need to jump on all the anchors. Now, in comparison to the Continental GT or the Interceptor, the Shotgun 650 may not feel as punchy, but if you do keep your momentum up, it's a breeze to ride, especially when the corners roll in. And she'll cruise comfortably all day, sitting on the highway speed limit with more than enough power on tap to round up the cars and trucks when needed. It's got a great little thumping exhaust note too, which would sound even better with a set of louder pipes. Now, while it may be hard to pigeonhole the Shotgun 650 into a particular category and to dominate Australia and New Zealand's roads, it'll no doubt be taking on other motorcycles like the Honda Rebel 500 or Kawasaki's cruisers, the Eliminator and the Vulcan S. And like always, Royal Enfield have brought the Shotgun 650 to market at a very competitive price. And when you add to that features like a 3-year warranty, the Tripper navigational unit, a full toolkit and a standard centre stand, you really are getting great value for money. The Royal Enfield Shotgun 650 will be available in 4 unique colours: stencil white, plasma blue and green drill, which you see here, and finally sheet metal grey. Okay, so we've come to the end of our test ride review, but trust me, this Shotgun's just getting started. It may not have helped me save the future or even change the past, but it sure as hell made the present a whole lot more exciting. And between you and me, I'd choose this beauty over a time machine any day. Because with the Royal Enfield Shotgun 650, every ride feels like you're riding a piece of history. So what are you waiting for? The future of cruising is here, and it's got Royal Enfield written all over it. Get on down to your nearest dealership and take this bad boy for a spin. Who knows, you might find yourself saying, I'll be back for another ride.